Hi, everyone. Today, we'll embark on a journey together to address a problem that has become far too prevalent throughout the world. One that steals futures, shatters families, and leaves communities reeling. This unspoken public health crisis is uncontrolled abdominal bleeding. And in the next 9 minutes, it'll unfortunately claim another 27 lives. But in this grim reality, there is opportunity for change. An opportunity to arm our surgeons not just with skill, but with the time they need to effectively use it. My name is Tyler, CEO of EndoShunt, and after a decade of successful medical device development and commercialization, I am thrilled to bring you Hemorrhage Control's brighter, safer future. A Class 2 medical device with a mission to end these preventable deaths by giving our surgeons this gift of time so they can give their patients the gift of life. The sad reality from a clinical perspective is that the time to death from abdominal hemorrhage or bleeding once surgery begins is often shorter than the time it takes to access the sites of these injuries, putting our healthcare professionals in the helpless position of knowing how to save a life while they lack the tools they need to effectively do so. And because of that, there are roughly 1.75 million deaths every single year due to uncontrolled abdominal bleeding. And unfortunately, our common causes are on the rise, including things like violent crimes, car accidents, or even complications during routine surgery. To make matters even worse, for those who are lucky enough to survive, roughly 3 out of every 5 suffer from life-altering complications due to the limitations of today's treatment alternatives. These patients deserve a solution, and EndoShunt is that solution. We empower surgeons with the ability to gain rapid, targeted control over abdominal bleeding. Our device is inserted via the femoral artery or vein and traced to the aorta or the IVC, where it can be deployed to occlude blood flow from the inside. EndoShunt's novel size adjustability helps the surgeon ensure their patient's blood is flowing to where it should and not out of where it shouldn't. And once the injury has been fixed, our device is completely removable and temporary in its application. To date, we have shown safe and effective hemorrhage control across 6 different animal models. What we're looking at now is EndoShunt deployed in the IVC of a pig. You can actually see the lining of our device through a 1 centimeter laceration in this blood vessel. An injury that would fill the abdominal cavity and blood in seconds shows no active bleed. What's not seen here was our effective surgical repair and the removal of the device without causing any damage to the interior of the aorta or the IVC, showcasing preliminary safety and efficacy. This industry hasn't seen true innovation since World War II, and because of that, our patients and our providers continue to suffer. The alternatives are just not good enough. Packing is incredibly invasive. It requires the surgeon to open the patient and to race against time to find the site of the injury and to try and place direct pressure on it. This has limited clinical effectiveness and even gets in the way of successful surgical repair. Cross-clamping and its less invasive counterpart of balloon occlusion goes upstream of the site of the injury and cuts off blood flow to the rest of our body. While this may mitigate hemorrhage, it starts to starve our tissues of oxygen, and as little as 30 minutes can lead to irreversible damage as serious as blood poisoning, amputation, or organ failure. EndoShunt truly is the only solution that gives our surgeons the time, the targeted control, and the techniques that they need to save patients' lives and drastically improve their downstream health outcomes. I'm sure everyone in this room can recognize I'm probably a little biased here, but the good news is the industry agrees with us. Key opinion leaders throughout the world recognize the value that this device will bring to the market, calling EndoShunt a game changer, or saying they would use it tomorrow if it were readily available. From an IP perspective, not only have we filed for key design features such as our size-adjustable shunt, our atraumatic tip that allows for guide wire-free deployment, and our user-friendly handle, but we've also filed for the category of temporary endovascular shunting, upon which we intend to build platform-level protections that help us capture multiple healthcare verticals for decades to come. Gaining access to the Trauma Quality Improvement Program dataset, we have accurately defined our target markets. Our beachhead are roughly 61,000 use cases in vascular injury alone, where EndoShunt could be the difference between life and death. The US market is roughly 102,000 uses, and international trauma nears $10.5 billion, growing at a rate of 5.2% annually. But the beauty of EndoShunt is what we are offering is temporary targeted control over abdominal blood flow, and that has uses throughout healthcare, whether it's transplant surgery to make sure we are using the right amount of blood product and giving these patients better recovery times, OBGYN to keep our mothers and our children safe, surgical oncology so we could be more aggressive in removing tumors during surgery, and even our military populations. We have a manufacturing-grade product that is currently preparing for its FDA testing pathway, with an expected submission date later this year on just a 6-month shelf life. In 2026, we'll launch at 5 trauma centers, where we'll start to generate the real-world evidence necessary to fuel our future commercialization into 2027. The revenue generated in trauma will fund our expansion into transplant and surgical oncology, and in the future, a second version of our device will be able to address the OBGYN needs of our colleagues. As a Class 2 510(k) device, we've already met with the FDA and de-risked our testing path towards clearance. We'll do so through 3 major verticals. V&V, where we'll show that the device works as intended from an engineering perspective, and we've been working with Medical Murray for the last 18 months to de-risk this pathway. Biocompatibility, to showcase that our materials are safe for human tissues. The good news is we are using known safe and effective materials just in a novel way. And lastly, we'll perform 2 different animal models, which will show safety, efficacy, and effective surgical repair in a GLP setting. Our device carries with it a competitive price point that leaves us an incredibly healthy gross margin that any strategic would welcome into their portfolios in the future. And for our trauma centers, we give access to roughly $26,000 of reimbursement on existing codes, but much more excitingly, access to nearly $4 billion of additional care opportunities in the US alone by helping these trauma centers keep their patients alive long enough to receive them. With the assumed commercialization date of 2027 and a growth rate of 1 trauma center per sales rep per month at mature sales cycles, we can estimate revenues just shy of $40 million by 2028 and nearly $60 million by 2029. Our team is perfectly situated to bring this device to market. We have combined over 60 years of medical device development and innovation leadership with catheter-based engineering and 2 active trauma surgeons who have seen hundreds of these use cases themselves, ensuring that the product we make is truly fit for our end users. And outside of our internal team, we boast an impressive network of mentors, advisors, and key opinion leaders who are helping us along the way, including surgeons, and I promise you these are not my words, like Dr. Thomas Scalia, who's the godfather of US trauma, and Dr. Thomas Koenig, who works out of London and leads the NIH's non-compressible hemorrhage vertical. We've come a long way since our ideation. On just $325,000 of dilutive funding, we've effectively proven out our concept through extensive customer discovery, the filing of our own IP, and the demonstration of safe and effective hemorrhage control. And we're currently raising a $2 million seed round led by the Baylor Angel Network to support our path through FDA clearance. In the future, we predict an $8.5 million Series A to fund the expansion of our commercial team and to bring us towards profitability. The beauty of our device is it offers non-cannibalistic sales expansion to every strategic that you see on the screen here today, meaning that we can only help the sales of their current products while adding new revenue opportunities for them. Over the last 5 to 10 years, we've seen incredibly healthy strategic activity in this space, with typical acquisitions occurring between 10 to 50 million in annual revenue and at 12x multiples. In the future, EndoShunt will give the gift of time to our surgeons. And by helping us get this device to market, you can give the gift of life to their patients. Thank you.